You'll have... I should... Well, this is a mistake. You know what? I'm feeling a big nope. We're not wandering around out here in the dark, so we're just going to immediately shove a sleeping pill into our mouth, put this back, and we're going to have a do-over on this going to sleep thing. Okay. So yeah. Oh yeah, you're brand new? You know what? I haven't done the whole... I can't... Well, actually, first of all, we gotta wait till we're sleepy. But for people who are new, I'm gonna do a quick thing to go through. Don't worry if this doesn't look like yours. There is a unstable branch you can currently sign up for as a beta if you'd like. It did change the organization of this options tab, but I'll go over that in a minute. So one thing I'd recommend for anyone who's new to the game, push escape, go to options. Go to your display tab. Where you find this stuff is going to be moved around a little bit if you're not on the beta branch, the unstable branch, but that's fine. It's all here. So the first thing I'll say is if you start having performance implications of the game, it's getting a little choppy. The frame rate's getting a little dicey, especially if it's over time, that the more zombies you kill, the longer your playthrough is going. Look at this blood decal setting and consider setting it to none or 10%, because that can be the implication there. What happens is every single time you kill a zombie, that zombie falls over, blood splatter goes on the floor and wall. Cool. It adds like a nice little effect. You can go to that one room that you had that big war in the one time. You see blood is on all the walls, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that super dicey war there. That was an interesting time. But yeah, you can turn that off, and if you turn it back on, they will reappear. Like, it doesn't delete them from existence in the world, it just hides them. But that can cause a performance implication, all those blood splats, because they never go away. Now, the things I would say are more important for actually, helping you be more successful in the game is this ISO cursor visibility. I believe by default it is at 50%. If it's not, make sure it's at 50 or 75%, and I'll show you what that is. But that's something you're going to want. The next thing you want to look at is show mouse cursor while aiming. When you hold the right mouse button, you're aiming your weapon, whether it's a crowbar or a gun or whatever, your mouse cursor disappears. I will tell you, if you lose track of your mouse cursor in the middle of a fight with zombies, you will probably die. Some people do like this, some people don't like it. It is a preference thing, but just letting you know, it's there if you want to make sure your cursor never disappears so you never lose track of it. But the most important one over any of these other ones is this aim outline. By default, this is on ranged weapons. I would strongly encourage you to change it to any weapon. And I can go over what all that is here in just a couple minutes. So while we're waiting for ourselves to get sleepy, if you see this little circle with a line on it that's moving around as I move around, that's the ISO cursor. And that's the thing you want to have the visibility up. So when you look at that line with the circle, I'm actually aiming at that line. You'll notice that line is right about the same size as my character. It's about the same size as a zombie. You're aiming at that entire space. You can't really see it because it's too dark, but if I put my mouse about here, you'll actually look at my character and notice my character's kind of looking past the cursor because it's aiming at that line, not the cursor. So that's a useful thing. Another thing is, if we pretend this box here is a zombie, this is where I probably want my mouse to actually hit the zombie. Normally you'd sit there and you'll see people doing this. Don't do that. You don't need to have your mouse directly on the zombie. That's not how it works. This game just cares about relative to you where that cursor is. If I have it over here and I swing all the way over here and I swing, I'm still hitting about right here next to my character. It's fine. But you do want a little ways away, because one of the things you can happen, if it's too close to you, you'll notice your character starts wigging out as you just ever so slightly overcorrect. And that'll get your character to spin around and face their back at the zombie, which is how you die. I am going to fast forward for a second because the rest of the stuff I want to show you, I can't show you until we find zombies. And I took a sleeping pill so that way we could go back to sleep. So we could hopefully wake up when it's not dark outside. Because running around in the dark is another way you die. So we've got our salad made real fast. So we have some food. And I'll show you another thing that's unrelated to the other stuff I was going to show you. I highly recommend carrying an empty bowl around you. So if we just look here, I have some fish. It's stale. We cooked it a while ago. It's cold. It's stale. It's not rotten. It's not dangerous to eat. But you're not going to be excited about eating this fish. It's kind of slimy. It's kind of old. It makes your character unhappy. It makes them bored. Not a good time. However, through the magic of the bowl, if I choose to create a salad with that exact same fish fillet that makes us unhappy, as you can see right there, and suddenly it makes us happy. I don't know why throwing the old fish into a bowl magically makes it more palatable, but you know, we're here. I will also mention, the more different ingredients you put into a salad or whatever you're cooking, the happier it will make you. The more of the same ingredient you put into a salad or a whatever you're cooking, the sadder it'll make you. So generally speaking, you want to put as many different ingredients into your salads and that as possible to get the most bang for your buck. And it seems our sink is out of water here, so we're going to turn to our toilet and fill up our water bottles. Waste not, want not. Yeah, the bowl has blessed your food, says Valkyrien. Maybe because the bowl it's in is, makes it look real fancy. Fair. I mean, presentation is like 80% of cooking. So now if you'll notice, this zombie will get a green outline the moment it gets in range. And just like that, I know it was in range. I know what zombie is going to hit. Now you'll notice, I opened the door, checked to see if there's a zombie there, and then I still ran through the door. That's because running can push zombies out of the way. Another pro tip, if you knock over a zombie, what kind of bottle are you using for the water? I believe those are like bourbon bottles. They're the most efficient bottles so far as how much water you can fit in them. There are other bottles that have their own niche advantages, but the bourbon is generally the accepted best. So you notice I've knocked over that zombie. Oh, I'm a little hungry. So I'm going to go ahead and have her nice little salad. Don't mind. She's cool. She's right where she's at. It's cool. Well, we don't want to not have a salad ready to rock and roll, so we'll go ahead and make a salad. It's alright. She'll wait. It's fine. The point being is if you are standing on a knocked over zombie that isn't crawling, you've pinned the zombie to the ground, it can't hurt you. If it's a crawler, it'll bite your ankles. Don't stand in crawlers. This is also true if another zombie were standing on this zombie. Now, normally I actually leave them on the ground and then kill them because they're annoying, but I want to show one last trick is, if you have a zombie blocking your way and you're not set to fight, run through it. I missed. That's embarrassing. Run through it. And you just kind of handily shove them out of the way. Just know, you can only do that for one zombie at a time. Don't do that to a group. It'll be a very bad time for you. And that's what we were trying to do here. Did I hear a zombie? Okay. So when I opened this door, I checked for the zombie, and then I ran through. And the idea was if there was a zombie here, it could grab me from behind. If I'm running through, I'll just shove the zombie out of the way, and then I can turn around and deal with it, because it's very unlikely to have more than one in range to do anything. So you've got all that. So those are things that'll help. One of the best ways you can fortify a location, this is not my main base, this is just a place I'm using because, like a forward base for 2 seconds, I'm not going to board it up, I'm not going to protect it properly. The best way to defend your base, make it a point every single day to just do a lap around your base. Any zombies you can see from your base must die. Because if you kill the zombies way out here, it means you're not dealing with them over here. Most of the time. Stuff like meta events and the helicopter and all that ruin it, but you get the idea. It's the classic, a good offense is the best defense. And a lot of people sit there and try and be like super sneaky, stealth around, and that's cool if like that's the kind of playthrough you want to do. I actually find sneaking around is way harder than just murder zombie. And generally when you fight zombies, when you go for your swing, you always want to back up as you're swinging. And the reason you do that is if I miss the swing, I whiff the swing. I'm already moving away from the zombie. I'm getting a little bit more time before it's a danger. Once you get nimble 2 and 3, you'll notice I'm going to have to actually Like, I'm not going to bother defending myself. Oh, no. Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, you can try again. Oh, I'm sorry. Once you get to, like, Nimble 2 and 3, if you don't swing, you can just back away from the zombie, and it won't catch you. And 100% it's trolling the zombie. It's being really mean. But still, you know. Hey, and by the way, I'll catch up on the follows. Thank you, Bucksfoo, for the follow. And thank you, Poiterbot, Poiterbaity. Welcome to the follow. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that. If I did, please correct me, and I will try and do better in the future. Peter. I will try and remember to call you Peter. But thank you for the follow. And if I get it wrong, correct me. I do genuinely want to get it right. But yeah, so that's a bunch of helpful stuff. But yeah, so that's what things that comes down to this game is a big thing is not panicking. If I give one piece of advice to new players, it's slow down. The amount of running you saw in the last like minute is probably more running than I've done, what'd you say, in the last in-game week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks combined? That's how little I run. And if you caught when we first came in that I was like, oh, there's a generator there and I want it, but there was a zombie at the door, I was like, all right, that's not safe for us to get right now. It's not urgent. The generator can wait. We'll come back for it later. That's just kind of the way it is. So take your time. It's very, very rare in this game that you actually need to be in a hurry someplace. So that's all helpful. Let's see. Another pro tip is you'll notice I don't have Sunday Driver. I'm driving super slow, but I don't have Sunday Driver. The cars actually have cruise control in this game. The game doesn't do a particularly good job of making you aware of it. It tries, but like you have to put your mouse over the. There's a little speedometer thing that says like, it's not your actual speedometer thing. It's a thing below. It's like the cruise control. But yeah, you notice even though like it has a zombie behind us, I still didn't run. And as much as possible, I want them to line up like they're coming for my autograph. I do not want them coming from multiple sides. That's the absolute worst. But like where those two are side by side, I want to shift over, get them to line up. And the reason is, it's much easier to fight zombies effectively one-on-one again and again and again, versus trying to do 3-on-1. Because if I have, for example, once these zombies stop doing this, if I have a group of zombies, I'm facing this way and they're like this, I'll smack the one in the middle, and the other two will just overtake me, and then I die. How many clothes do you have to rip before I get thread? Not like this, tailoring 0, Herculean effort. Yeah, so when you're tailoring, like I can walk over to these corpses and I can choose to rip them. Anytime you get thread from ripping clothes up, you actually get a little bit of tailoring skill. And they can use that skill to tailor, which is beyond overpowered in this game. Like you look at my protection and you notice on my scratch here, you're seeing a lot of 100%s where if I get hit in any of those spots and it's a scratch, I just don't get hit. It just tears off a little piece, like it just tears like a hole in my shirt or whatever, and I'm A-okay. And that's thanks to tailoring. Tailoring is absurdly powerful. And you'll even notice my bite, for the most part, my bite resistances are above 50% with a couple of exceptions. That means even if a zombie goes to bite me and it hits any of those parts, I got like a 1 out of 2 chance of just walking away with a hole in my shirt and no injury. One of my shoes has a problem? Did I overlook that? Because I'd believe it. I'll have to check in a minute. Yes, one of my shoes is badly damaged. I don't know when that happened, but thank you for it. It's probably from stomping on zombie heads. I probably had one that, you can wear out your shoes. So I probably worn out my shoes. So I'm looking for boots. Did I trip over something? I tripped over something a long time ago, but I have replaced multiple sets of shoes since then. Realistically, it's just been between stomping on zombies' heads and running around that I've eventually worn them out. Oh, come on. Give me some boots. It's fine. Zord says, I always get built in the groin. You'll notice here, 50% chance of getting away with that. There is a 1 in 2 chance that if some zombie goes and says, you know what, your groin is lunch, and I'll be like, not today. And then my groin will be fully exposed. I'll be like, okay, never mind. Let's not have a repeat of this. You know, I need some space. Yeah, now you can definitely damage shoes by tripping over stuff. You can damage shoes by running through trees. If you stomp on zombies over time, that will wear out your shoes and put holes in them. So there's plenty of ways to damage your shoes. So clearly I did something. I don't think I tripped. I haven't tripped in a while. Like, this character has taken 3 injuries so far. 2 were from tripping a long time ago. And then 1 was I forgot to have a shovel when I went to dig a furrow and just kind of was on autopilot and was like, oh, my hand's bleeding. Well, so this character's been sullied. They've got the accursed first aid skill. The first aid skill's fine, it's just fairly useless. Oh, come on. One of you have boots. Like, I've never had problems finding boots before. They're just, like, everywhere in this game. It's fine. We'll find some farmer, some will take their boots. For weight in the system, don't think about trying to starve yourself. That's not how weight works in this game. Like, you can die of malnutrition while shoveling food into your mouth as fast as possible. You can also die of, you know, starvation, like hunger-wise, while eating lots of food. It's just, there's 2 different mechanics. There's hunger, which you can die from, which is just how hungry you are immediately. And then there's nutrition, like calories. It gets more complicated than that, but that's the basics. So the idea is, if you eat lots of vegetables, you will lose weight. Eventually, if you lose enough weight, you start to die. At 35 kilograms, you're considered starving, and bad things happen. Don't get that low. If you want to gain weight, you eat carbohydrates like cereal and oats and all that kind of stuff, or you eat meat. So, I've seen a lot of people go, oh, well, I'm keeping myself at hungry, and I don't seem to be losing weight. Well, what are you eating? Oats. Well, right. You're eating super high calorie stuff that's not helping your hunger much. So it's 100% what you eat is more important. Now that said, for gaining weight, you can actually take some low calorie stuff and just shovel it in enough quantity to overcome it, but it's pretty difficult to do. Like, you got to eat something. Someone did the math as like 37 cabbage a day or 100 something cabbage a day just to sustain weight or some ridiculous amount. But yeah, so the point being, what you eat is more important than how much you eat, so far as like gaining, losing weight. So just don't fall in the trap of like, well, I keep peckish at all times to lose weight. It's like, it's kind of just delaying the calories. You still have to eat, otherwise you die of hunger in the game, because that's just how it works. Give me boots. Someone here has to have boots. Where are you hiding your boots? And there's a whole bunch of people like, no, boots. Take sneakers for the runs. There we go. Military boots wear... Oh, that's interesting. They were in near like mint condition, but you know, still. And I'm just eating little bait fish because these are just going to make us happy soon, so I'd rather eat them now. So that way when I finish the salad afterwards, it'll make us happy again. Let's inspect these boots. These also have a hole in them. And it is a thing that as you get later and later in the games time-wise, the clothes the zombies wear end up being more and more just destroyed as you look around. Glad someone mentioned about the boots, because I didn't even look at the protection screen. Just like, ah, these boots are in basically mint condition. And unfortunately, you cannot repair shoes. Oh, then one of the cowboy hat probably has boots. Or not. Oh, the Fashion Bella or whatever? Yeah, it probably has some boots in it. That biker probably has boots. The one with the green helmet we just killed. Alright, we just broke our machete, so I'll put that in our bag. Because I do keep the broken machetes. And I don't spear meta, these are just all the spears I've collected since we got the machetes. Hey, Rachel Kitten, how is it going for you? Because it's going pretty good for me. We just came to the realization that our boot has a hole in it. Don't know when it happened, but you know. Alright, Fashion Bella. No one here. That's that business. Thank you for the follow. Rash Hero, how's it going? We have some excellent Hawaiian shirts. Look, I just want shoes. Why no boots? Why no boots? Oh, slippers? I don't think I've ever seen slippers. Run speed penalty? That's severe. Yeah, no, the farmers are pretty reliable. It just means next time I do like the lap back and forth and all that, oh, he'll probably have boots. But like the farmers are a pretty reliable source of boots. As far as raw damage goes, other than katana, the spears are pretty much the highest damage in the game. Good range, all that kind of stuff. They just have a real bad downside of their durability is terrible. They basically fall apart. Alright, let's move our vehicle up because I do want to get back into this neighborhood and start checking it out more. Because we are looking for a generator. It's just we're now looking for a generator and boots. The boots are actually probably the higher priority in all honesty. I'll kill this group, that's fine. Is that a machete in the zombie? Nah, if you see what looks like a knife that has 3 rivets in the handle, that's a bread knife. The bread knives will constantly torment you into thinking that they're machetes. And that said, it's entirely possible I miss a lot of machetes. Because they do look similar. Oh, that's interesting, Rash. I didn't know that the reasoning was the machete, or the bread knives are so ridiculously large, is one of the devs has a bread knife that's ridiculously large. Yep. Nah, Rachel can, like, legitimately, the bread knives are constantly mistaken for machetes, and sometimes, like, you'll even catch, like, the tip of a bread knife sticking at a zombie and be like, oh, katana, and then the zombie will turn and be like, oh, wait, never mind. Like, they're cartoonishly large. It is an incredible tease. And like I said, the durability is crap on spears. So we're at maintenance 8. And still they break pretty easy. But just that attack speed and that range. Because we're only like spear 4 or 5. It will just one-shot so many zombies. Rachel says, that would probably explain why the last time we played, a couple of friends, we had like 30 bread knives at some point. Yeah, because the bread knives are just absurd. Like, the next time I see a zombie with either a machete or the bread knife, I'll point out. And you will notice I'm driving real slowly around these zombie bodies. If I go any speed over these, this vehicle just roll over onto its side. Zombie bodies really kind of ramp your vehicle up in the air real fast, so generally you want to keep them out of the road if you can. That's not always an option. It's not always safe to do so, but it is what it is. We are getting nauseous. We're not getting nauseous because of zombie plague or anything like that. That monstrosity, that's a bread knife. And you can tell by the 3 rivets in its handle. The machete won't have rivets. Hi, where did all of you come from? We were just here killing your friends. I mean, we've never seen you before. This is our first time here. We've never been in this neighborhood. We don't know anyone. You have no evidence. Yep, and so Rachel Kent's saying, I totally would have risked my life to grab that. And that's actually one of the things that I've mentioned quite a few times, that my advice to new players is slow down, and that's a big part of it. Okay, even if that was a katana laying on the ground there, and you're just like, oh, like, holy crap, katana, one of the rarest weapons in the game, lets you just decimate zombies like, you know, like paper among paper shredders. If you walk up and you die, it does you no good. Alright, we're exerted, so we put away the spear. We start poking him with a knife. And the reason for that is the knife uses almost no stamina. So you can, a lot of times, recover your stamina, or I'll actually get back out of moderately exerted, fighting zombies with a knife. And the next thing to keep in mind is, just because that moodle disappears, that doesn't mean like we're suddenly fully rested or anything. If you think about it, if you imagine that you have like a bar that's like your stamina, like Dark Souls-esque, where it's like when you hit 60-70% or whatever it is, then you're considered moderately exerted. You know, you go over that, so you're at 61% stamina, you're no longer moderately exerted, so you just immediately wind up a heavy hit, and then you're suddenly way back into exerted. Rash Hero says, katanas wear out much faster than axes, though. You are correct. The problem is axes use an incredibly large amount of stamina to swing around. Katana's pretty negligible. It's some, but pretty low. And while the axe has more durability, it's, while it can one-shot once you train it up, the katana can one-shot basically out the door. Like, this character with, 1 fitness, 2 strength, and a single point in long blade will one-shot most hits with a katana. It'll have a couple where you 2 and 3 hit, but Whereas the axes, I think you have to get up to 5, 6, 7 before you start really reliably one-shotting. You'll one-shot. That'll absolutely be a thing that happens. Oh, excuse me, that's my knife? Give it back, please. Oh yeah, no, I hear you, Rash. And that's one of the reasons why axes are disputedly one of the metas. But yeah. Oh no, absolutely. I am entirely down with answering questions. On the note with the axes, this one thing I do appreciate about Project Zomboid is I personally do not believe there is a hands-down meta. Axes are very, very strong. There's no denying that axes wreck house. But they do have drawbacks. The stamina being the biggest one. At the moment, I technically do have a few mods loaded. A lot of them I have hidden, so they're not doing anything right now. And I can show you those here in a moment. But I have a mod called Minimal Display Bars. You'll see the tiny little square in the upper left-hand side of the screen. I can show that where it'll show my stamina, my tiredness, all that kind of stuff. Here, actually, I'm going to pause. So I was saying, I like axes. I think they are meta, but I'm more of a fan of blunt. I would say at a point, axes were meta, but there have been adjustments. If I were being honest about when you get your skills maxed out, what meta is, I would say spears. Their durability is crap, but once you get your carpentry that high enough and you start crafting your own spears, you can go around and just slice through hordes like they're not even there. But I was going to say, so I have minimal display bars up here so I can show all my bars. And that's showing all my information so far as how my stamina is, how sleepy we are, all that kind of stuff. But I've been hiding it because I was having a discussion where people were wondering how much I lean on those mods for for my success with my short blades, because I actually personally use short blades very, very heavily. I do have a mod that will show the condition of my weapons, where normally I'll have a green bar over here, or it'll be red or whatever. That shows the condition. I've also got that information hidden. I have an auto mechanic mod, which is basically when you go up your car to do mechanic things, the way this normally plays out. I'm not going to have much time to show this, because zombies. I'd have to choose right-click uninstall, right-click reinstall, and it's those things where you say uninstall, wait 5 seconds, reinstall, wait 5 seconds, go to the next part, uninstall, wait 5 seconds, oh it failed, uninstall, wait 5 seconds, oh it failed, uninstall, wait 5 seconds, and it's just tedious. Auto Mechanic just does the clicks for me. I still have to wait the time, I still have the same speed everything goes, the same progress. It just saves me the click, so I can just kind of sit there and set it and kind of, watch, make sure we're okay, and that's fine. But yeah, I agree with Quico that there isn't a hard meta right now, in my opinion. There is not a hard meta. There are weapons that certainly have their strength. If we're talking raw damage, spears win, in my opinion. The spears hard win, they have range, they have incredible attack speed, and they one-shot consistently. Once you get them up to really high level, really high maintenance and all that. So they're a high investment weapon to get good. Axes, on the other hand, don't take quite as much investment to one-shot, but the consequence is they absolutely eat your stamina for breakfast. That you need to be very high stamina build for those axes to be usable for more than a couple zombies, and then you gotta take a break and recover. You can completely avoid the lock animation, Rash Hero. And I've actually never had it where the lock animation has gotten me killed or injured, but I've definitely had it get to the point where I do not feel good about it. Like where you're sitting there going, please let me go kind of thing, like holding the button the other direction, really just trying to get away. But like, so this is the one-shot animation you're talking about. That, it does pin you in place, but you can avoid it. I personally, my favorite weapon are short blades. I will use short blades and I will wreck house with them, and I will keep up with just about anyone else once they're leveled. Right now, if I'm not drowsy, which I am drowsy, or exerted, I will two-shot zombies fairly reliably with a hunting knife, and it basically takes no stamina. So whether you throw 10 zombies at me or 500 zombies at me, I will kill all the zombies without having to stop once. So keep in mind, I'm doing this while drowsy. I will not hit exerted, I doubt. And that's with us, we're being only the teeniest hair above exerted. And for me, the short blunt weapons are the all-arounder. They're not amazing at anything, but they're also not bad at anything. Their stamina use is pretty good. Their damage is pretty good. The rate they knock stuff over is pretty good. Their attack speed is pretty good. You get the idea. They're kind of the jack of all trades. I'm gonna need to drive very slowly over these bodies. So yeah, this isn't me going, ew, axes. Axes are very solid. It's just they're the weapon you use to crush skulls in seconds, but at a cost of stamina. So for lower population, I would say axes probably your best bet. Hey, Integer Smirk. Yep, we have been clearing Rosewood quite a bit. So it really does matter on your playstyle.
Rash Hero just subscribed.
Thank you for the follow, Rash Hero. Or sorry, thank you for the sub, Rash Hero. You now have advertisement-free viewing, as well as you get to enjoy all your emotes, and I hope you appreciate that. And thank you so much for the sub. It helps, and I really do appreciate that myself. Thank you for that. And it's a Prime Gaming one, which means you only get one of those a month, and you decide to use it here. So thank you. But yeah, so I would say right now, as far as weapons go in the game, the weapons are in a really good place where there isn't a single category of weapon I'd be like, ooh, that category of weapon, not that great. I would definitely prefer a different one, so far as objectively saying better or worse. They all have their niches, as it were. Especially for, like, I mentioned my build, I start 0 to hero, which is where I start, you know, next to, no, like, basically no fitness, no strength. That character, when I start that character up and I pick up an axe, like the fireman's axe, I swing it about 5 times and my character's ready for a nap. Like, we are hitting moderate exertion, it's a bad time. But if I bust out a short blade, I can fight 50, 20, you know, whatever zombies. It's basically, until my short blade breaks, I can fight zombies non-stop all day long until we fall asleep. So that's the magic of the short blade, is there isn't a number of zombies you can't handle with the short blade so long as you got the vitamins to stay awake. I mean, you can just look here. I'm at almost 47,500 zombie kills, and hunting knife is my main weapon. And usually that's because I'll use, like, the crowbar or the axe or whatever, and I'll keep killing zombies until we hit moderate exertion. They'll snap out the hunting knife, which gives me a chance to get out of moderate exertion, and then we'll just keep killing with that thing. And, like, I can say, like, I've used just about all the weapon types, so I got a pretty good feel for which one excel at where. Alright, give me a moment to catch up on that message. Just want to make this turn first, because I've learned that pausing during a turn gets me to run into trees. Don't ask me how I know that. Gorfy says, you probably already answered this, but when your skills go up in any weapon, does the stamina required swing go down, or just higher damage? I believe the reality is, the true answer so far as how it affects your stats in the game is the damage goes up. However, the damage going up does indirectly cause the stamina usage to go down by means of having to swing less times to kill a zombie. So take, for example, when I'm sitting at, like, hunting knife 5, That means I'm hitting 3 to 4 times to kill a zombie with a hunting knife. Now, a hunting knife like 7, I'm hitting 2 to 3 times. That means every zombie on average I'm saving roughly 1 swing per zombie, which means that 1 swing per every single zombie less stamina I'm using. And that holds true regardless of weapon type. Until you're one-shotting reliably, that isn't a thing. Yep. So that's where people it helps with stamina. It's like, it does. But it's not the direct thing, it's the number of hits. And that's why exertion and getting drowsy are so bad that they go that. It's not so much that you're doing less damage, it's the fact that you're doing less damage means it takes more swings to kill a zombie, which means it takes longer, so it's just longer your character's awake doing stuff. And it also means it's more swings, and every single swing is tapping into that stamina and that tiredness, making things a little bit worse. Alright, I think we're at the point we can start picking up the pace. We're not seeing zombie corpses anymore. Because that's the only reason I'm driving super slow, is if I hit those zombie corpses going 45, there's a good chance, as big as some of those piles get, that this car could kiss the sky, and with it, my character's run would be over. Because like I said, we rolled this car yesterday, and we were only going maybe 20, 25 miles an hour. It's just we hit a pile of his bodies, and the car just went boop onto its side, and then I had to get another car to tow it back onto its wheels. But yeah, for me, moderate exertion doesn't scare me too much. It's one of those things like, okay, I need to be mindful of what I'm doing now to get myself back out of this. Drowsy is, it's time to, it's time to get out of whatever I'm doing and head home. Or to get a little bit distance and start choking down vitamins like it's my job. Because vitamins will wake your character up a little bit. Or if you drink, if you have coffee, you can eat or drink coffee. I think tea also helps. El Grosso says, I am very cross. I have just discovered that you cannot put a gnome on a couch. He deserves the same comfort that we all do. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm more concerned about the fact that anything other than grass, and when I say grass, I mean the terrain on the ground, not actual grass, because actual grass does cover up flamingos. Any other texture will cover up a flamingo. So when it's raining, the flamingo texture will be behind the rain sitting on the ground texture, even if the flamingo is sitting on top of the ground that rain's on. Flamingos deserve to be, above dirt at the texture levels. Do I have the radio on? I do. Good. And generally you want to avoid hitting zombies with your cars. Your cars get trashed actually pretty fast hitting zombies. It really doesn't take much to destroy your car. Logo says, it's their natural camouflage. People think flamingos are bright and pink, but they're actually like chameleons. They just choose to be bright and pink. For fun. That's fair. For those who want some actual science, the reason why flamingos are pink is because all the things they tend to eat have lots of beta-carotene in it, like shrimpies and all that kind of stuff, and that makes them kind of an orangish pink. Because science. And also science, the thing where people believe that eating carrots is like this amazing thing that makes your eyes super good, that is actually propaganda from World War II because the British did not want to tell the Germans about radar. So they just claimed that they was just eating the carrots and, you know, making them super able to see. So they're like, oh yeah, that's how we can tell where all the German planes are, is we eat our carrots. I'm not sure the Germans bought it, but you know. It's pretty funny that that's still a thing that sticks around. It's like, but that's not true. It's not some amazing eye-helping thing. Carrots are good for you. Beta-carotene is good for you. It's just not magic eyesight food. And then pro tip, if you have stuff you don't want, like I'm never going to repair a kitchen knife, if you put it in a trash can, you'll see this delete all button, and now it's gone. What's actually good for eyesight if you have trouble seeing far, looking at the horizon to see for a long time? Oh. I am not an eye doctor. I'm not any kind of doctor, so can't really help you with that one. Oh, what's actually good for your eyesight? You're not asking a question, you're making a statement. What's actually good for your eyesight? Yes. Generally speaking, people have a tendency to look at stuff nearby them way more than we would naturally historically. And that's part of the reason why we have so many eyesight problems and all that. And so actually deliberately looking at things far away does actually help with your eyesight. It's not going to magically cure your vision or anything, just to be clear. If you're super duper nearsight or anything. But, you know, it will help prevent you from doing a lot worse, and it can help a little bit. In other words, still see an eye doctor. I was blind, and then I looked out at sea, and now I can see. I question that. I ain't the smartest man, but I have a feeling that's some bull. So I'm just getting more food ready. Yep, and I have these grape leaves. So one thing that's kind of nice is you'll notice these grape leaves don't say fresh on them or anything. They never go bad. So they're actually good for hunger. Worthless from a calories perspective. Like, you will starve to death over time in them. But as I mentioned, hunger and starvation are two separate things. Yep, and all I do is when I cook stuff in the stove, I just have a pile of sheets here, and we just say, okay, put it in. Each sheet gives me about 15 minutes worth of time for the stove to be on. So the idea is I can keep putting in. Quita says, carrots helping you spot things is BS from a mile away. Yes, it is. Like I said, it was literally propaganda out of World War II, where I believe it was the British had come up with radar. You know, the Germans were not yet aware that they had it. And so they started spreading out word that, you know, oh, it's like we're eating all these carrots and we can see real well, so we're just spotting the German planes before they can reach us. And they were just using radar. But, you know, that was the MO that they were saying, so all that. Great Air says, I was deaf, but then I listened to the sea for 10 hours straight and now I can hear. Yeah. If those are real things, we would be doing them. And don't get me wrong, beta carotene actually is pretty good for you and all that. Like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean fish is not cooked? Why was there one chick? There was one fillet of fish that was not quite finished. Probably extra thick one. Thank you for the follow. GW Moon, welcome to the stream. There we go. It was just that fish was just a little bit thicker than its buddies. Need just a little bit more time in there. We gotta hydrate? Thank you, because I was actually sitting there going, I need to, like, you know, pause the game for a second to actually go and grab a drink, because I am fresh out of drinks immediately here. So I need to go stroll the other room and grab a few. So I'm going to do that here in just a minute. But first, we sleep.